New York has become the next state to offer tuition-free higher education, and it's the first to offer it at four-year universities. So here's some of the details. Now, according to the Huffington Post, in a major victory for the movement to improve access to higher education, New York has become the only state that now offers free tuition at four-year colleges and universities. Now, this is the Excelsior Scholarship. Now, that's what it's called, and this plan basically was included in the $163 billion state budget approved Saturday by the Democrat-controlled Assembly. And not only that, but the same budget was also approved on Sunday by the Republican-led Senate. So this has been approved. Governor Cuomo, this is Governor Cuomo's idea. He campaigned on this in January. Now it got through the Senate, got through the House. It's bipartisan. It's law. That's awesome. So what does this mean? Right? What is the Excelsior Scholarship? Basically, it covers tuition for any New Yorker whose family earns less than $125,000 a year and who are accepted to one of the state's public community colleges or public four-year universities. So the scholarship is applicable to about 80% of the 940,000 families with college-age children in New York, according to Governor Cuomo. Now, today, college is what high school was. It should always be an option if you can't afford it, Cuomo said in a statement on Saturday. Quote, "There is no child who will be able to go to sleep and say, I have great dreams, but I don't believe I'll be able to get a college education because parents can't afford it. With this program, every child will have an opportunity that education provides." So, again, more details. The program is set to be phased in over 3 years, first applying to families earning up to $100,000 this fall. Now, there are other stipulations, of course, that have ran into some criticism. For example, students must be enrolled full-time and maintain a certain grade point average and number of credits each year. That can be problematic for people who also need to work to survive. So there's that issue. But there's another stipulation as well, which is a recent addition, also required students to live and work in New York after graduation for the same number of years as they received the scholarship. So it's not perfect. And if students breach that agreement, the scholarship will be converted into student loans. Though there are some exceptions put in there. So look, again, this isn't a perfect piece of legislation. However, it seems to be a big step in the right direction, where now we're actually trying to increase opportunity instead of take it away, at least in the states. The federal government is completely different. You've just seen Donald Trump want to slash Pell Grants and want to make it, of course, easier for student loan companies, servicing companies, to screw you over. But at least in some of the states, we're getting it right. Look, this is good legislation, despite its faults. It is progressive, and it passed with bipartisan support. It's actually similar to the plan put out by Bernie Sanders and then later on adopted by Hillary Clinton during her campaign. And it joins other similarly free community college programs already in places like Tennessee, Oregon, and Minnesota. Tennessee has a similar plan that they want to expand to all adults. They were already doing something like this for high school kids. And they're like, you know what would be great if we actually expanded free community college to adults? That'd be fantastic. Now, good legislation is good legislation. And I said that when I talked about the Tennessee plan, put forward and championed by Republicans. Doesn't matter what party you're in. If you actually support good legislation, well, then people are going to notice. Then I'm going to notice. And look, right now, there's a need for this. You have a lot of people that are drowning in debt, especially millennials, but of course it's not exclusive to them. Now, here's the thing about college, right? Millennials and a lot of people went back to school, especially during the economic downturn. We were sold a bill of goods. We were told, hey, go to college, get a good job. Well, okay. Problem is, college became very, very expensive. So the question is, how do you pay for it? Well, a lot of students decided, well, okay, we're going to take out the loans. We know we're going to have to pay that back for a long time, but it's okay because we'll have a job waiting for us when we're done. So we'll take out these massive loans because, of course, minimum wage was not good enough to pay for to pay your way through school anymore. So, and of course, you can blame the rise of tuition. I'll have some stats on that in a minute. Now, when these students end up graduating, many of them ended up having this giant debt. They knew they were going to have to pay it off, but that's okay. Jobs, right? Let's get these good jobs of the future. Oops, looks like the jobs ain't there. They weren't there, and of course, either the jobs had disappeared, or the market was oversaturated in some fields. And if you had loans, well, sad day for you. Especially when your loans were given over to places like Sallie Mae and Navient, who literally are being sued or have been sued to try to screw you into paying more for that loan so they can end up making some profit. Try to skim that off the top. And that's disgusting. Going to school shouldn't be a profitable venture. It's about educating your children. It's about educating the next generation in order to become job creators of the future, as well as to work in these jobs of the future. So this is why we need tuition-free education. I mean, do you know that outstanding student debt is over $1 trillion? And there's a lot of people out there that are now in default. That's why last week, Sanders introduced legislation in the Senate that would provide free tuition to all public colleges and universities for families making under $125,000 nationally. Now, that idea is popular. Last year's survey by Bankrate found that 62% of Americans like the idea of tuition-free education. Tuition-free college, of course, is more popular with millennials and baby boomers. 77% of people ages 18 to 29 support tuition-free college, while roughly half of people 50 and older supported the legislation. In fact, you had Steve Pounds, a Bankrate analyst, saying, quote, "The older you are, the less likely you were to support it." And I think that's partly because they don't know the reality of it, or, of course, the other part is they don't care. See, it used to be that you could get a college degree while working a part-time job. And you can't do that anymore. In fact, in 1979, it took a student working at minimum wage, which was at the time $2.90 an hour, 385.5 hours to pay for 1 year of the average college tuition. Now, if a student worked, for example, a full-time job, 40 hours a week, over an entire summer, well, that person would have worked 480 hours. Basically saying, well, yeah, if I work for a summer, I can pay off my entire year's tuition. Today, however, it takes 2,229 hours working at the federal minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour, to pay off 1 year of the average college tuition. 2,229 hours. Holy crap. And to both be enrolled in school full-time and work enough at minimum wage to pay off 1 year of college, it would take a student 3,249 hours to pay off that debt. There's literally not enough hours that you can work at minimum wage to pay your tuition in a year. And look, you can do what you can to minimize costs, but at the end of the day, in order to go through school, you're either going to have to take breaks in between semesters to be able to work, to save up enough money, or you're going to have to take out some loans. It's not a question of laziness. This is a stone cold fact that tuition has risen to astronomical levels while pay has not kept up. And of course, again, you're going to have all these people coming in saying, well, why don't you just get a better job then? Well, wait a minute. That's the whole point of going to school, dude. Get a better job to go to school so you can get a better job. That doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. This is why so many people, both Republicans and Democrats, by the way, are in favor of tuition-free higher education for public universities. Because it's smart. It's an investment. So look, good on New York, man. This is actually great policy. And actually will go to solve a very real, very serious issue. And look, if enough states do it, maybe one day, this might eventually go national, and we can have a huge revolution in our education system. And that would be a great day indeed. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.